We are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Happy Saturday if you're joining us live, or happy whatever day it is if you're watching the replay. Happy.
It's Valentine's Day.
Oh my God, yeah, it is.
Yeah, we even said that to each other.
Happy Valentine's Day. Oh my
And,
gosh. Time is not real.
Yeah, exactly. Happy Valentine's Day to the chat.
Hello.
Grand Rising to everyone in the chat.
Hi, Lynn. Good to see you. Hello, everyone. Welcome. If you don't know who I am, my name is Jake. I'm a hypnotherapist, a quantum guide, and today we're talking about the moon energies and what's going on in our lives. I'm joined by...
Hey, my name is Corbin. I'm a natal astrologer. I love working with the birth chart and natal charts to help clients understand the different cycles of their life, the different karma that pops up in there. The show is more about kind of like the mundane astrology. We love to tell the stories about everyday occurrences and how we can kind of see the astrology manifesting in big things and small, but definitely the things that are personal and happening right now. Aquarius new moon, lunar eclipse, solar eclipse.
Yes.
And so it's a lot going on right now.
It's a lot. Hello, Jody. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Grand Rising, Jody.
Yeah, the energies have been intense. I mean, I feel like we've been saying that for a while, and it's intensities in different ways.
I mean, we've been building up to this moment astrologically for like the last 9 months or so. That intensity is prime for the moment. And what did we title this? Like
Radical Revolutions.
Yeah. So definitely in today's show, we'll be talking about personal revolutions, personal ways that we're being more radical these days, but also how we're seeing that in the collective. We like to share, like I said, personal stories, examples from client sessions and what we're hearing as we're working with clients. And then of course, like some of the crap that we see from our news feed, or some of the stuff that's going on in the world. Feel free to share your stories in the chat as well, because we love to hear what's going on with y'all. And we'll also, bring a few tips, tricks, things for your toolbox, just a little bit of advice on how to navigate the eclipse season as we're beginning that.
Yeah, let me toss up my banner here, because happy Aquarius new moon. I am in Aquarius moon, and so feeling all of this extra. It's like right all up in there with my stuff.
Well, I think that we're feeling right away before we jump into anything. It's just the last night.
So, oh my gosh, yeah. I'm a little out of it.
Congratulations to all Saturn and Pisces folk. You did it. Yay, you're done. Congratulations. Yeah, we know that we have some beautiful folks in the chat, and Jake as well.
Yeah.
And so, but boy, oh boy, Saturn coming into Aries with a roar. Jake and I were woken up at about 4 a.m. to just the most frustrated screaming that I had heard in a while.
Oh yeah, he was done. It was a domestic dispute. It was a decoupling, a breakup, a get out of my space sort of vibe. I mean, I was thinking about Saturn and boundaries, and this dude was like yelling at this woman, like, go, get out, go. And like it went on for so long. Very long. And then at one point she's back, like banging on the door.
That's what that was.
Yeah, she was banging on the door, and I was like
kind of falling asleep because I was trying to send love, and I was calling angels.
As I'm like lying there, like I'm like, okay, just send pink love energy, like love light to them.
Day.
Right? Oh my gosh, happy Valentine's Day. It was tough energy to like start the morning, but at the same time, it's that like it fit with the astrological themes of the moment.
Exactly. And we'll talk more about Saturn and Aries as we get in, but even just in these first few hours, some of the themes of frustration, what are you doing with your own will? And how is that relating to others? Already just popping up in this, a little domestic thing on the street. On Saturn's day, it is Saturday, so it's just a nice start to that. Anyways, we have something really fun that we want to share with everyone. It is the beginning of the Chinese Lunar New Year that we have coming up with this one as well. And I think everyone's so excited about Fire Horse.
Fire Horse, Fire Horse. I mean, I feel like these sorts of topics, like, because of the way the algorithms work, because of the way the social media works, like, everyone hops on that train, and like, it just becomes like such a saturation. I mean, we saw this with 3i Atlas, and I was listening to someone last night, good friends at Autodidactic, we love them, and they were like, whatever happened to 3i Atlas, where did it go? And it's like, some of these things get so much hype and so much talk, and then it's like, poof, yeah, it's gone. But I mean, we're going to deal with this energy for a year, right? I mean, Fire Horse energy, I feel like the dragon energy, the snake energy that we've been feeling the last couple of years has been really like visceral. I've definitely felt it.
I honestly don't follow this close enough to say a lot about it, but I would say if you're a horse,
I don't either, but I'm just saying, like, in a general energy sense, you know. Yeah. But anyway, what we have to show you, Corbin's gonna get in his position, his Vanna position, because as Lynn said here, oh yeah, show us the new goodies. I know. Okay, I'm gonna hide behind your hand so that it can focus. There we go. Sorry, the light is a little yellow because our sunlight is a little blue, and I was trying to even us out. You could switch it off for a moment. There we go. Sure.
Drop the link in the chat.
Ooh, I will drop the link in the chat.
Oh, but now you can't see anything.
And I'm gonna, I can pop it up in.
Yeah, just pull up the pictures that we took last night. So we made limited edition Fire Horse pocket OGs, or pogs as we've been calling them. We had picked up, maybe I can show.
We'll do that in a moment.
We got some cinnabar chips for this one, which cinnabar is such a beautiful stone, and it's the red stone that you can see a lot in there. But cinnabar, shungite, clear quartz, copper metals, aluminum metals, that's all of the kind of magical mix of chips that you can kind of see Tammy. At the front of this. Good morning, Tammy. Grand rising to you. And inside these guys as well, I've been doing a lot of wire wrapping, and we've been wrapping together 3 different colors of wire to do what we're calling a Trinity twist, because it's kind of like that 3-in-1 brought together. It's super duper pretty. You can kind of see that on the edges of these pucks. And then on the backside,
right here,
have that same old yin yang coil that shows up in a lot of the resin and orgonite creations that we make. Mm-hmm. A yin yang coil is one piece of wire that actually goes 2 different directions. And so it has that ability to transmute negative energy and change the spin of it to something that's positive. Mm-hmm. And so all of that is kind of packed together in 3 different layers here inside of the pogs. There's the crystals at the front with the metals, the Trinity twist in the middle, and then the yin yang coil on the back. That's all in black for these ones. So we had a limited amount of cinnabar chips that we got, about a dozen of these or so that we have up for sale on the site right now. And we did $26 for 2026. Yeah. It's, kind of coordinating with like Year of the Fire Horse. Jake, you looked up a lot of info about cinnabar. Do you want?
Lynn's already on it. I'm so excited. Lynn got one.
They're
Grab them, guys. They're so fun. They're so cute. I mean,
we definitely kept 2 for ourselves.
Yeah. So cinnabar's a really cool stone crystal.
I really didn't know much about cinnabar.
I didn't either. I honestly ordered it because we were looking for just different colored chips, and it was like, oh, that's a different color than we have. I'll grab some of that. And it is such a interesting crystal because, oh no.
Okay, well, live. We're live, y'all.
We're live. Dumping cinnabar on the counter. Leave it for later, yeah. Cinnabar is interesting because it is an ore that contains mercury, like actual liquid mercury. And it's like the primary source of that, or like the most prolific source. Luckily, ours is polished and also sealed within resin, because normally, I mean, mercury is highly toxic. Like, it is not good for human consumption or like touch. Like, it'll get into your skin. We hear all of that stuff.
I should wash my hands, but it's okay.
Yeah, but this is polished. And so with the polishing process and then also sealing it in resin, like, you don't have any exposure to that mercury. But I did still say, like, keep it out of your kid's mouth. Don't let them chew on these pogs. Don't let them chew on your normal pogs either. I mean, resin can't be all that great for human consumption.
No.
It's like petroleum based, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, this stone, cinnabar, it's like so in line with the energies of 2026 and the fire horse energy, because it's all about transformation, and especially like pushing you on like a self-discovery journey to transform and to become this different version of self. And I think with the Aries energy, it's all about like self. It's about stepping into that new version of self.
When you were talking about the connections with the root and sacral chakras, and when I think about Saturn, since Saturn just stepped into Aries, Saturn is such a lower chakra kind of energy center. And so, there's just, we had cinnabar and we also had red jasper, and I was like, no, we're going with the cinnabar. This just makes so much sense here. So
well, with that sacral and root chakra, right? I know, I love that comment, Lynn. But it's really about like these pogs especially are designed with that crystal to amplify your willpower, your determination, especially as it comes to the idea of like manifesting your destiny, manifesting your dreams. And so I think this year is going to be a lot of action for a lot of people. It's going to be a lot of stepping into a new way of being that you maybe don't have all the answers or know like how it's all going to go, but like you can do it through determination, through your willpower, through like, you know, like pulling yourself up and like just doing the thing.
Just do it.
That's just do Aries. And then the last point that I'll make on the cinnabar is that one of the qualities of it is it aligns you with your higher self. And I think that when we're thinking about this movement, when you don't always have the clear steps or like know how it's going to play out, there's that leaning on your higher self, leaning back on that part of you that does know, when you're not necessarily having that like clear vision. And so helping you to tune in with your higher self, stay attuned to that energy so you can move in the right direction, right? Because we want to use this energy in like the most positive way. So
I just think they're so beautiful. I love these ones so much.
Yes. Light yourself on fire. Hi, Kyla. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Love that.
Oh my God. I still just like chuckle. I'm going to keep chuckling. It's a pog, not a pacifier. Oh my God.
Put that in a review.
Anyway, love it. Check it out on the site. Go grab your own. Just $26. It's a good deal. And
well, and we'll talk about themes of creativity later on. This is part of, you know, Jake and my creativity that we'd love to share with all of y'all. Now, cinnabar was really cool for the theme here because we talked about the idea of transformation. And as we're getting into what this moon is all about, you know that I'm such a fan of the Sabian symbols. And so we have a little video clip here that corresponds and goes along with the Sabian symbol for 28 Aquarius, which is where we're having this new moon here. And the James Burgess, that's the versions that I like, although Dane Rojar has some really great translations of these as well. And for 28 Aquarius, the idea, the concept, the visual here is that of a butterfly emerging from a chrysalis. So Jake, will you just share? Because I mean, who here doesn't love butterflies? I'm just going to soak this in.
I grew up in northern Minnesota. It's pretty rural. I know. And I switched my shirt to have butterflies on my shirt without even thinking about it. But I grew up in northern Minnesota, and we have milkweed, which is the monarch butterfly's only source of food and like habitat. And we had just fields of it behind our house. And so like we raised monarch butterflies like very frequently. And like the monarch energy, I just love those butterflies. They're so cool.
I always love to reflect on these symbols and think about them a little bit and kind of what it means inside of everything that's going on. And definitely this concept of spreading your wings and, you know, butterflies, they all have this like unique, beautiful, gorgeous patterning, which is so like Aquarian, right? My unique individual self, my butterfly wings, the pattern of my wings. And I just feel like this is such a moment to be shifting and accelerating inside of our spiritual journey to be kind of spreading those wings and embarking upon like a new phase in the next era of spiritual growth. I feel like that's really just something that is so poignant and clear. And like, yeah, again, butterflies and spirituality, butterflies and like expanding your consciousness. I think this all like really works together. And it speaks to, you know, going through this initiation. We've all been going through a spiritual initiation. And when I think about that more in an astrological lens, y'all know that I'm really fond of looking at cycles and going backwards to kind of see how things have manifested, to understand how things are going forward. And there's something about this eclipse right now that harkens back to two big moments in time recently, where I think we've had actually several stages of this initiation, of this spiritual initiation thus far. The first one that I want to mention is, if anyone remembers, the Great American Eclipse back in 2017. Did anyone in the chat like go see that in person, IRL, travel to see it, or maybe it just came over where you were living?
I think it would have gone over Lynn, right? Lynn, I feel like you would have been hit. Probably a lot of people. I mean, it hit a lot of the US.
Here in Minneapolis, I remember that day. I remember going outside and spending a lot of time, you know, observing the totality that day. It wasn't like exact here in Minnesota, but, you know, that eclipse was at 29 Leo, which is directly opposite where we are having an eclipse, you know, in just a few days at 28 Aquarius. Wow. And so it's really activating and drawing up things from 2017. It's a direct opposition here. And so there's that moment in time is being sparked, highlighted, pinged as we're continuing something that started at that time. I remember personally for myself, it was the end of a really serious relationship that I was in. Jake, you and I were joking and saying, oh my gosh, and we met each other, you know, very shortly thereafter. Not that we started dating at that time, but
no, but it was like our first meeting in 2017.
Yeah. Anyways, fast forward to 2020. And if anyone remembers at 0 Aquarius, so we're still in this Leo Aquarius, just from the ends, the final degrees and the beginning degrees, we had Saturn and Jupiter come together at 0 Aquarius. That was the beginning of the pandemic. And, you know, that was another huge shift for that journey that we've all been on, whether it be lining you up with different people, adjusting your beliefs, putting you into a new lane. You know, just these fated events really have been lining up for some period of time here. And so again, when we're having now this moment where in 2026, where the eclipses are going to begin to shift into the Leo Aquarius axis, that's why I think that this is almost a third stage of something that's really been growing and developing, which is why we are now the butterflies that are coming out of the chrysalises, not cocoons. And that, you know, I really think that we have been initiated in so many ways already.
Yeah. When I think about 2017, 2020, huge like shifts and like really putting me on the trajectory to where I am right now. I like 2017 was when we like first met, but then also it was when I moved to Minneapolis. It was when I like started like my journey with Caribou Coffee here in Minneapolis, which put me on the trajectory to meet the people that I need to meet to get into the hypnosis world, to like end up here, which is so wild to think about, like the chain of events and the ways that things played out, and like even down to like the ways that because it was one of my bosses who introduced me to the world of hypnosis, and like wild to think about that, like juggling of people. And it's just like really cool to think about the cycles in this way and to like reflect on the ways that the energies played out.
Well, and I can't talk to anyone recently who isn't on this journey who doesn't talk about 2020, you know?
Yeah.
And what I really want to make clear here is that 2026 is the start of a new chapter. We are not living in that chapter of 2020 anymore. And so as we are now new forms of butterflies that have evolved because of everything that we've been through, there's an opportunity again to come up with a new sense of identity, to stand for different ideals, especially with this like Aquarian, energy here. What is that lane that's important to you? What are those ideologies that are guiding you as you're moving forward? Sometimes our views and perspectives and things change, our beliefs change. When I think about 2017 to 2020 to 2026, whoa. God, yeah. But I would also just really strongly ask everyone to reflect on ways that you have been initiated throughout this process. Right now, when we look in the mundane world, because a lot of this show is about what are the stories that are happening on the streets right now, I think there are a lot of people who are being initiated, whether spiritually or just on their mission. There's so many folks who are protesting, rebellion, protest, being driven by your ideology. This is such a big topic inside of Aquarius, and people are on the streets protesting corruption all over the world. We're seeing labor and trade protests in France. There's mass protests in Iran. In Brazil, people are standing up against Bolsonaro. Whether you're for or against Trump, that's happening here in the United States as well. And I think about Aquarius representing the youth, or the myth of Ganymede, who was that young, exotic human that the gods lusted after. There's something about Aquarius that harkens to the youth, and Gen Z. The students are out in fervor right now in so many ways, really pushing, their own agenda, their way of how they see the world and how things should be structured. And so, whether you find that you need to go out and get on the streets, this is just an example, right? There's so many more ways that you can take a stand for what you believe in that's much smaller, even much more personal to you than a situation like that. But now really is now's the time to you have been initiated. It makes you come alive. It gives you that energy to move forward. And it's just a big thing to be thinking about. How have you been spiritually initiated in the last handful of years? Because you are the butterfly. Cool.
Yeah. I mean, on a personal level, I've just been kind of like chuckling and laughing at just how blatant the astrology really is for me and in my life. And I'm certainly, I think, getting hit on a lot of like big angles and stuff like that. Corbin could tell you more, but the energy of like stepping into your power and like believing that you have gone through enough to be at this point, to be able to step into a new role, a new way of being. Some of you may have seen on my socials, like I got invited and asked to speak at an event coming up, and there are people that I look up to that are speaking there as well. And it's just such a moment of like feeling like I'm stepping into this new level, this new frequency of like who I am and how I'm showing up. And so I was thinking about that a lot as you were talking through those things. And it might be that apparent for you. It might be more subtle. It might be like more on a one-on-one, or it might be, like Corbin said, more internally or like personally. I feel like for me, it's like on a lot of different levels. So it probably is for you. I was wondering if you wanted to address Jody's question here. She was talking about Mercury at 29 degrees Leo in her chart.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you
very
see this
activating here.
as new wisdom and clearer intuition?
Oh, I love that. Okay, so anyone who's having kind of a big trigger here, yeah, I mean, that's okay. So that's directly opposite. I think, one of the big messages that Leo is reminding us inside of this moment in time is the role of creativity, the heart, and going inside to get some of this. The Aquarian part can be pulling us into the mind. But if your Mercury is centered inside of your heart, just make sure that you are tuning into that as your first place for information, and making sure that you're starting, kind of that channel through there. And I do think that it's a good activation to be deepening your kind of connection, your core to your channel. And that can help bring in clear wisdom. But just make sure that you're tuning into that internal frequency, because sometimes Saturn, or sometimes Aquarius, as we see it inside of Saturn, can be these ideologies that are put on us, or these ideas that are, Saturn is a top-down kind of energy, and Aquarius can kind of be mandated or pushed upon. And so just remember that the truth of your Leo essence here is that the fire comes from inside, the wisdom comes from inside, and should then be kind of like expressed outward. So that would be part of the butterfly wing for you, Jody, would be using that Mercury to communicate.
Love it. Love it.
Cool.
And thank you, Lynn. I appreciate you. I'm so excited too. It's going to be so fun. Really oh my gosh, it's so fun. Yeah, it's pretty wild. Some of the synchronicities and all that. But yeah, one of the, I remember you tying this in, but
as we were talking about taking your own stand, you know, having your own personal rebellion or revolution, or, you know, being firm in your boundaries, the concept of respect is really important here. Again, another key Saturn theme. And this came up in a session that Jake had with Jennifer recently, where they went 100 years into the future, and they were looking at the future of telepathy.
Yeah, originally we were going to go in with a totally different angle, and that was what ended up coming through, and what her future self, her higher self, had to show us and present to us. And it was really interesting because the idea of respect was such, like, it was so integrated with the idea of telepathy and that interconnectedness, because not only was this human to human, because when you can hear someone else's thoughts, when you can communicate in that deep, connected way, you're going to treat each other differently. But this extended to all of life, and it was extended to the animal kingdom and to the plant kingdom, and even to like our non-human beings, and to the planet as well. And so it was like just very much this big theme of interconnectedness, communication on that deeper level, which led to and really like went hand in hand with respect, because, you know, if you can hear your dog's thoughts, you're probably going to treat it in a different way than you would if you were treating it as some sort of like sub being, or like it didn't have as much consciousness as you. And so that idea of respect was so important in the information that was being shared, and was told to us in a way of like, lay the groundwork now, start shifting into that mindset of respect now, because that opens the door for that level of communication.
Well, and we think about, you know, 100 years into the future, we're deep into the age of Aquarius, but again, 2017 to 2020 to 2026, we've been building it all along. We're building it right now. We're creating that new chapter right now. And so the ways that, you know, we hold on to this concept of respect, which is a very high vibration of Saturn, you know, Saturn inside of its rulership of Capricorn, you know, it's the steward of the land, right? And so really having this tenet of respect is kind of crucial to anything that we're doing moving forward. Okay, real briefly though, I had a time where I was out protesting. I just remember the first time that I ever, maybe it wasn't the first time I went out protesting, but these experiences really do change you, just kind of like a spiritual experience changes you. But I remember out in the fall of 2019, Hillary Clinton was in town, and a couple of my buddies and I, we went and we were protesting and yelling at Hillary Clinton. And it was so much fun to just yell warmonger, even though that wasn't like really slick off the tongue. It was a really great experience. And I was so enlivened by it and filled with fire and gusto. And sometimes we find ourselves by saying how we don't align with others, and that's part of what's going on right now. You know, people talk about it as the bifurcation, but it's also like finding your position as well. So anyways.
Well, and speaking of finding your voice, you know, all this fire energy is just so fun, because I picked to do a dragon workshop like before really like being in this energy, or like really realizing, connecting the dots. So reminder for everyone, Dragon Awakening Guided Journey. 222 portals, so literally just a week away. It is coming up next Sunday, 6 p.m. Central. And this idea of like finding your voice, this idea of like connecting with your inner power, your inner fire, like it's so perfect. It's so perfect. And I think the dragons have been coming up a lot, and that energy is like knocking at the door saying, all right, guys, you ready? Let's go. Hop on my back. Let's go. I'm reminded of a moment in the session that Lynn and I did, and we shared. Make sure you go check out the Dragon Riders full session. It was so much fun. But that moment when Lynn was riding her dragon and learning how to fly, and her dragon said, you know, it wasn't going slow just because she was young. It was like just like going for it. And I feel that
I feel the spark of joy from that statement too. It's
right?
like, woo!
Right? It's so fun. It's such a fun energy, and I really want to help you to connect with your dragon energy, whatever that looks like for you, whatever aspect or facet of dragon that you're needing right now. That's what this workshop is about, is helping you to connect in with that. So if you're like looking for a little bit of a spark to start your fire horse year, join us for the workshop. I mean, $11, guys, like you literally can't buy any sort of experience for that much these days. It's a great deal.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. All right, what banner are we on? Can you help?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We are on
Boom,
the
boom,
new
boom.
age,
the new age, the new fire.
Yeah,
the fire
new
is
fire,
burning.
guys.
Oh
New
yeah, 'cause
fire.
the dragon fire, and of course, I mean, such a big signature of the new moon right now. And like, hello, if you haven't heard, it's Saturn and Aries coming together at Saturn and Aries and Neptune also in Aries.
Before we move on, I just have to say, oh my gosh, yay! Carol ordered a fire horse pog and also a blue flower pyramid. Oh, I'm so excited for that to go to you. I love the pyramids. They're so fun. They're so beautiful. The energy.
Oh, I guess we have one out right now.
You have one.
Yeah.
Yay!
I mean, there's other stuff too. Absolutely.
So excited. Yeah. Check out Pisces Portals. We also have a big sale on florals for spring.
Wonderful ascension tools, though.
Absolutely.
Great things for your altar.
Anyway, back to the new fire.
Okay, so the actual conjunction between Neptune and Saturn, this perfects over the next week. Although, I mean, these are two very, very slow moving planets. So, you know, but we're here right now, and we've been here for a while. Remember, this all had kind of the preview last summer. And so if some of those themes that you were experiencing, or some of those struggles or challenges or difficulties are coming up again, really visceral, and maybe you're frustrated or angry about them, hey, you know, right on time, divine timing, right? But just a reminder that this energy will continue to kind of grow in a crescendo, because they're at the beginning degrees of Aries. And right now, a lot of the fast moving planets are still in Aquarius and Pisces, and they're going to get to Aries. And so as Venus and Mercury and the sun all move closer to that, you know, we're going to have more and more activations of this new age, this new fire, you know, this new thing that's growing. We've called it many things: the new chapter, the new dawn. So again, I want to give a shout out to Pisces. You're done with your Saturn returns. And send my condolences to the Aries, and also to like anyone with like strong Libra placement, sun, moon, rising. This is now it's your turn, Libras. Again,
I'm a Libra rising, and I'm just like, guys, wait, I thought I was gonna have a break.
Well, now hold on. Cancer and Capricorn, they're in it too. They're taking squares from this.
I know, I'm not alone.
You know, come chat with me if you want to know how this is showing up more personally, or if you've already felt it coming up inside. But anyways, we're in a birthing process here as these two are coming together at the very first degree of the zodiac, and the birthing process is messy, right? There are things that are discarded. Yes, we come out with the baby, but there's also like bodily fluids that like get discharged and stuff that is messy. And so I like to think about this in the ways of like, there can be some challenges that can bring up questions around our belief structures, that can produce a spiritual crisis, obstacles that can come in our way and challenge or diminish our faith. These can be some of the ways that we're kind of met with the difficult sides of this. But a reminder, the message of the eclipse season here is that you're the butterfly. And so we should be able to work, especially with some of our spiritual tools, to kind of float and fly over and course correct in some of these things. But the reality is Saturn is in exile. If I saw this in your chart, if I saw Saturn in Aries, we'd probably be talking about that a little bit here, because it's far from home and really struggles to express itself in the most positive ways at times. Saturn actually loves to be on the opposite side of the wheel, over in Libra, where it can make contracts and structures that are beneficial for everyone, for the masses. But inside of Aries, that energy can be a little bit self-centered, can be a little bit short-tempered, can not really see things to the finish line. And so, questions around my will and what am I doing with that and where am I going and am I there yet? The energy can be too impatient to slowly build what Saturn is asking you to spend the time through commitment to build inside of your lives. And so yeah, lots of frustrations, just like we heard out on the street earlier this morning. And lots of things around pacing can start to come up here around like, ooh, this maybe wasn't the right timing, that kind of a thing.
Yeah. Been feeling all of that for the past 3 years. So good to know that I get just a little bit more of it. But I feel like, I know that I'm not alone. I mean, I think we're all feeling it in one way, shape, or form, in one aspect or iteration of our lives.
But in the best way, we get to use this energy again to create that new structure, to support that new dream of the new vision that you want to be, manifesting here in the world. I love, again, looking at cycles to see what's happened. Saturn and Neptune come together every 36 years. I always remember that because I was born under Saturn, Neptune. And if you look at the historical cycles here, you can really see many moments in time. Well, time, history, right? But in 1773, when Saturn and Neptune were together, we had the Boston Tea Party. In 1917, when Saturn and Neptune came together, there was the Russian Revolution and the rise of socialism in Latin America. Spent a whole year studying this in college. And then later on in that same cycle, in 1953, when they met up again, there was big changes in Russia again because Stalin died. And there was a lot of shift in the political climates. There was a lot of workers' movements in Latin America. Lots of pings in the 20th century here for Russia and Latin America. And again, in 1989, we saw the Berlin Wall come down and kind of the collapse of Soviet Russia. And it's not that this is all Russia, but it's these are the places where we had some of the examples of people coming together to create a new idea of a new structure of how things are going to be, creating a new reality for society that is fostered around different sets of beliefs and ideologies. And that's really what we're embarking upon right now. Now, that's what's happening big, collective, right? Everybody. But we're all going through this individually, personally. It's just this understanding that what is happening outside is a mirror of what's happening inside of us. And so here we all are with this moment of time as an opportunity to, again, have your own personal revolution, to carry your new fire forward as the butterfly.
I said this week to some friends, I said, time isn't real, but timing is. And it just, it came to me. And this concept I definitely work with in my work. I mean, I'm a quantum hypnotist. And so the ideas of time, we might ask within a session, like, what year did that happen? Or like, what year do you feel that you're in? Or what time period do you feel that you're in? Trying to get a gauge on like the time. But then, an hour later, we're talking to the higher self about, quantum leaping that healing to happen in an instant. And so it's like, things can happen over a 10-year span or a 10-second span. And it's really about the timing of it, not the time. And I really love what Lynn is saying here about do all the healing you can now while you're younger. It makes it easier down the road, because like what a fire horse energy, right? Just do it. Just do the thing. And I've been feeling that, especially over the past week. I feel like there's been a shift in that energy of like, okay, I just have to do it. I don't want to. I'm like, feeling the opposite, or I'm like, even before this show, I was like in a little bit of like a mood, and I was like, you need to do something, because otherwise you're just going to sit in this and like it's not going to help. It's your responsibility. Yeah. And so I sat down and I meditated, and then I put on a song that I liked and I danced a little bit, and that helped me to shift my energy so that I wasn't in a bad place. And
on Saturn and Aries, your responsibility, your number one responsibility is to yourself, you know, is to Aries, is to your fire, is to taking care of yourself. And again, I just have to emphasize, here we are at 0 Aries, the very, very, very first sign of the entire zodiac. They both went, Saturn and Neptune, from 29, the end of it all, to the very, very beginning. And so this role of creation, your role of creation, of co-creating with the universe, if you haven't stepped into the driver's seat, if you haven't taken a hold of the wheel, now is the moment. Your butterfly wings are strong enough to grip it. And really that moment to seize it is now. We aren't newbies anymore. I think that's so exciting. Like, I've just been reflecting on this recently and feeling like, oh my gosh, I mean, no, we're really at this next stage here. We've learned and grown so much, and recognize that transformation in yourself. It really will help you to carry the torch of creation, because again, as Jake was saying, it's your responsibility moving forward.
Yeah. And I think you had said the phrase, like, if you're not feeling it, if you don't feel like you are at this new point, or that you've graduated, or that you've gone through that initiation, then like go inside, like stop, tune out the whole world. Like, I think one of the most powerful things that we've done along our spiritual journey is like shutting out the world and like going inside. And you know, if that means that you stop answering phone calls and emails, and you turn off YouTube, and you shut out social media, and you just get quiet, like do that. You need to do that. And I think that some of that, you know, ties into this idea of let go and let God. Because this is a phrase, I don't know if y'all have heard this one before, but like I heard it all the time growing up in the Christian world. Let go and let God. The idea of like relinquishing your control to let God.
See, and I just remember Jesus stuff. Take the wheel, which feels like antithetical.
Well, and I almost did. The first draft of this little banner, I said, Yeshua, take the wheel.
Yeshua, take the wheel.
Which I thought was funny.
Sing that at karaoke.
Oh my God, right?
So I love where this is naturally going, because I think the next thing to really be talking about here, outside of the Saturn and Neptune energy inside of Aries, would be, you know, we still have a whole bunch of planets in Pisces right now. The actual nodes of the moon, the North Node is still in Pisces for a little bit. That doesn't shift into Aquarius until like late July, if I remember that correctly. But there's a lot still happening in Pisces right now. There's a little bit of a Pisces pileup. We have Venus, the North Node, and Mercury all there. Mercury in pre-shadow. We'll have a Mercury retrograde in these middle degrees of Pisces in just a little bit here. And so this idea of, well, what have we been learning? What have we been learning with the nodes inside of Pisces and Virgo, with the North Node in Pisces? So our souls are karmically being led towards learning these Piscean lessons. Usually this happens for about 1.5 years while the nodes are in a certain sign, and then they switch. And so we've been learning these lessons for a period of time. We're actually at one of our last eclipses here. But just to kind of recap some of the things that we've been learning about with the North Node in Pisces, growing into that, and maybe diminishing or letting go of some of the Virgoan aspects, would be letting go of some of the details and just trusting in the plan and going with the flow. Another would be replacing self-criticism with self-love and care and empathy. Another comes to mind would be learning to stay grounded while we expand and connect into higher realms or forms of consciousness. You know, there's a lot of ways that these two signs work together and are kind of nudging us along the journey. I think you had something to say here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the feeling of, letting go of the details, trusting the plan, going with the flow. I mean, this really, in my mind and in my work and in my personal experience, like, it requires that you lean on and trust in your higher self, or your higher power. I mean, you can conceptualize it in whatever way works for you, but the reliance on something bigger than you, and that you are a part of. If you didn't see my show yesterday on the session stories that I talked about, it was all about this idea of like understanding your place within the larger, the oversoul, the higher self, like you, who you are, and stepping into that power, not using it as a deflection or as a way to victimize yourself, or a way to say like, oh, well, I don't really have control here, it's my higher self yanking me around. It's like, no, not separate from you, a part of you. Like, that is part of you, and you are like in that co-creation with them. And if you think that you're not, then you're just like covering your eyes while you're like making decisions on like the switchboard of your life. And like, take your hand away. Like, you could look, you could see what's happening. Like, use that.
Well, and that's so great, because Virgo is all about like dividing things into little pieces, like the grading of good, better, best, or, this bucket, that bucket, this bucket, that bucket. And that's part of that Mercury element here. But on the other side, in Pisces with Jupiter's, oh, we're all one. Oh, we're all one, and so just as you were saying there, it's these different sides of something that we've been working on letting go of, but still understanding, the most important aspects of it as we're embracing and stepping into something new. And so inside of this eclipse, with two relational planets, both Venus and Mercury here, very close to the North Node, there's this idea of it's time to have that talk. It's time to share your beliefs. It's time to kind of rip the Band-Aid inside of that conversation with some of these people, especially where, you're having partnerships, or you're noticing this change of belief as it relates to the people that you're kind of connecting with. A difficult side of Pisces would be like shying away from, or lying, or obfuscating, or not bringing these things up, not processing these emotions. But we're being called into kind of conscious conversation right now, sharing from the heart and trying to, find balance and harmony inside of that relationship through maybe doing the more difficult thing here, of having that conversation, of bringing that difficult feeling to the light. And as there are all these ideological clashes that are going on right now, or difference of beliefs or opinions that are coming up in so many places right now. And even again, if this is just internal, have that talk with yourself. Say, I'm noticing that some of my actions aren't aligning with what I'm thinking, and it's causing this cognitive dissonance. Yeah. And, there's lots of ways that this conversation can be had, but it's about, bringing light to these emotions that are really coming up inside of the relationships. I'm thinking about the thing on the street again, the domestic thing on the street. I don't know if they're really having that talk though. I mean, it was a lot of yelling.
Yeah. I mean, there was some talking, but I think there was also this like, this very Aries, like, no, this is the way it is. No, I will not budge. No, like that.
Well, it's back to the respect that we talked about earlier. It's okay if you end up in different places, as long as you can respect that. I think the highest form of Pisces that we're learning right now with the North Node in Pisces would be this concept of universal love. How can you transcend that separation and still provide or send love to that person, even though you like don't agree? I mean, that's, let's all sit with that right now, because that's what I think the world needs more of right now.
Well, and this theme of love versus fear, I mean, I've been talking about this for a hot moment, and other people have as well. I think this is really expressed in a lot of these themes that we're talking about here, with both like the ways that like self-criticism comes from a place of fear versus like self-love and empathy comes from love. And it's just such a different vibration. And even in that that idea of, you know, burying the feelings versus letting it out in a healthy way. This is either choosing fear of like, oh God, how are people going to receive what I say? I mean, shit, like I've been feeling a lot of this lately of like, oh God, you know, I find myself in disagreement with people, or like of a different mind, of a different opinion, and I see things differently. Oh God, what are they going to think? Is this going to be the end of our relationship? Is this going to be, you know, the thing that breaks it? And some of that comes from the traumas of the past and the ways that you hold on to how things have played out in moments, but understanding that like this is about choosing that love for yourself, that love for other people.
Oh, and you know what? One of the great ways that this could be coming up too, so Pisces again could be secretive, could withhold, things could happen behind closed doors, right? There could be a little bit of obfuscation and lying here. If you're sensing that intuitively out of someone that you are in partnership with, big hard thing here to do would be to ask the question, to bring it up. Maybe it's too difficult for that other person to go there. But you can provide a very compassionate space for that sharing by saying, hey, I noticed this kind of a thing, you know. I don't know, just something that I was thinking about as you were saying there. Again, if you're needing assistance with some of this, though, phone a friend, call in your angels, call in your guides. You know, Pisces, spirituality, Venus and Mercury here. So, you know, they're on the other end of the line, you know. But again, I think having these conversations is part of how we spread that butterfly wing that we were talking about at the very beginning. And it's part of that spiritual transformation that is being asked for inside of this eclipse season.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hey, Jennifer.
Happy Valentine's Day to you too. Hope you've had a good day. Oh yeah, absolutely, Lynn. And that's, I think, part of the journey is realizing that and accepting that and having love, even if you do end up going separate ways, understanding that maybe you'll come back around, maybe you won't, and maybe it'll be in this lifetime, maybe it won't. And I think that's part of taking that higher perspective, aligning yourself with your higher self energy, and remembering that in amongst the human emotion and the natural responses to these things, because it's natural to be a human and to feel like some sadness or some loss or some you know, more difficult feelings, and you should feel those, but then redirect that energy, remind yourself of how this fits into the trajectory of like where you're meant to go, where your soul is calling you.
Yeah. And so we've been really talking about Pisces here, but I just think for the mutables, Pisces, Virgo, Gemini, Sagittarius, if you have big placements here, this theme of having that talk, calling in your support, I feel like really resonates really strongly for some of those signs. But you know, the deeper thing that's driving some of this, in my belief from looking at the charts here, would be we're at this culmination point of another thing happening where Jupiter is stationing inside of Cancer. Jupiter's been retrograde since last November. We talked about this contributing to kind of like a funniness of the holiday season in the ways that Jupiter reflects our beliefs and kind of our values, and how we like to, you know, spend the good times together. And it's been in this area of home and family where we've been having to review what are some of those relationships and beliefs, especially with our mothers or with the people who brought us, who cared for us, who nurtured us, who, you know, helped us to grow up. And right now at inside of this chart, Jupiter is at 15 Cancer. And I just want to be very clear here. It doesn't station for about another month, but 15 degrees is that degree where it stations. So it's moving very, very slowly here. It is almost not moving right now. And I think, again, a lot of what we do need to be talking about to have that healing is the change of belief, is the change of viewpoint, is how our philosophy, our perspectives are shifting and changing, and we're finding ourselves realigning as a result of that. We wrote down the phrase like a come to Jesus moment, like, hey, we need to sit down and just kind of hash this out. But again, I think the most like catharsis. I think the most emotional release inside of all of this comes from that healing that can come from sharing the trauma and the wounds that come up from a lot of this Cancerian healing that we're doing. So if there's things from your childhood that are coming up, if there are things related to the relationship with your mother, or just the relationship between work and home too, because that can really be coming up inside of, you know, Cancer is like, hey, am I spending too much time putting my energy in other places and I'm not creating the world and the life that I want for myself? So it's just part of why I think we need to have that talk, because it really is big stuff going on here, and lots of shifts that we've been going through internally, probably for the last 3 months, as we've been getting new awarenesses about this. So yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Feel that one winding down.
Absolutely, Lynn. What do we need to let go of? Absolutely. And I think that was one thing that we were talking about with this new moon, is the ways that recently our new moons have been at the ending degrees. And so I keep doing this thing where I'm like,
you remember this?
It's an Aquarius full moon, right? This is a full moon, right? This is a full moon? No, it's a new moon. Oh, okay. It feels like a full moon. And I feel like that idea of like letting go, of release. I mean, for a while there, the last plenty of my meditations have been like about release. And I've been like, oh, I picked this one intuitively again, and it's a release one. Okay, I guess I'm going to trust that. I'm going to trust my higher self, even though it feels the same. It feels repetitive. But I think that we are at such a, what is the sloughing off? Sloughing? What's that word? Sloth? Come on, telepathy. Just give me the telepathic communication, so I can just give you an image of a snake shedding its skin. You know, I feel like that's where we're.
We
that's
can't
where we're
use
at.
snake imagery anymore.
We're
a fire horse.
A horse like breaking out of the gate. You know, or.
Pull up the fire horse stuff
again.
So
absolutely.
Again, happy fire horse year.
Yes, happy fire horse year.
Other stuff to pull. Well,
I was going to remind everyone, like, the astrology. I'll put the link for Corbin's astrology services bookings down in the chat.
Now on Jake's.
Just ravelightypnosis.com/astrology. Real easy to find. And you can book with Corbin there, learn more about his services. And I know for myself, like I've been reflecting on the end of my Saturn return here, and I've said a few times to Corbin, like, I would not have navigated these 3 years with nearly as much grace as I have without the insights that Corbin provided through the cycles, through helping me understand my natal chart in like new ways and in deeper ways. And so
I learned the hard way on my Saturn.
And also through some of the personal experience that he was able to share, because he went through it just a little bit before me. But truly, like, the cycle work is so
fun.
It's so fun, and it's also so like real. It's tangible. You can say, oh, I understand how this goes into my life. I understand how this, like, you know, and that's why we do these shows, is like helping you to see the through line and the connection to the reality that you're living in.
And I probably say this a lot, but it's like, it's that really commonplace thing. It's the really, again, the mundane thing where you realize, oh yeah, that's the divinity in everything, you know. That is the master plan being enacted in every single moment of every single day. Astrology really helped me to see that. Anyways, Fire Horse.
Yeah,
you're the Fire Horse.
Book a reading.
2026 special limited edition Pogs with Cinnabar, a really awesome stone for personal transformation and connecting with your kind of inner fire, which we all are going to need to harness in the best and highest ways as we move forward with outside of this eclipse season.
And here I'll put the Fire Pog link in the chat again.
Oh yeah, and we're doing them for $26 to go with the year 2026. Yeah, this is just, it's so much fun. Jake, this was a really great idea that we had the other night. So
yeah,
and I love sharing all the creations with y'all.
Yeah, so glad you love them, Jennifer. I wish that we could just figure out the whole like worldwide shipping thing and stop being so dumb about it, because it's ridiculous. We'll send it to you, but it will cost everyone a lot of money. I think shipping ultimately like costs about the same amount as the POG, and it's just like,
yeah.
Someday we'll just pop it in our portal and we'll send it to you. But yeah, links, as you can see in the little banner down below, dragon event coming up 222 next week.
Connect with your fire.
Absolutely. If
for
you
2 Pisces, we're ready for it.
We're ready
for this.
We're ready. I mean, I have my Venus in Aries, and so I feel like, and as a Libra rising, my Venus does hold some sway. So I feel like I have some of that fire, even though I am a very watery and airy bitch. I still have a little bit of that fire. Anyway, hopefully this helped you guys. Happy Aquarius new moon, happy solar eclipse.
And then, share your stories in the comments.
Please.
Hit the like for the butterflies.
Yeah, go back through and like look at the little tags and say, how did butterfly energy show up in my life? Or how did, tell us, please share. Because the more that you talk about it, I feel like it's helped us to really embody the astrology and this information, because so often it can be so mental, and bringing it down into the heart, bringing it down into your like body, and like how does that show up is really important, because otherwise it's just fluff up here, and fluff up here is fine, but is it actually?
But you know what? We've done enough fluff up here. That's the other thing I've been reflecting on. It's like I really have learned a lot through curiosity, through going down this rabbit hole, through getting curious about I already said curiosity, but we've consumed a lot, and I just more and more I realize, dang, we really can create when we go inside and start drawing from that. It's been really cool for me doing these shows with Jake, because I've almost stopped entirely listening to any sort of astrology content at all. And it's really helped me to connect with my own voice and what my own message is. And I just feel so much more authentic and so much more proud of what I'm doing at the end of the day, because I've been able to connect with more of that inner fire of me. And part of it did come from like controlling the inputs, and like I guess my fire horse had a little bit of like a blinder on or whatever, so I could go in my direction. But you might need to still be stripping and removing a few things away to connect with that fire to move forward. And I really suggest that. It's really helpful in the journey.
And hello again. Good to see you.
Hey,
welcome back. Hope you're doing well today. Enjoyed the replay if you're just popping in. Yeah, right. Absolutely. Shine in your light, Corbin. And yeah, I did. There was definitely a point where we were just like, yeah, we need to do this. Yeah. We gotta step out and step into the power. And I think that's really, that's where we'll leave things today. Is like step into your power. Yeah. Step into your fire. And if you need some support, we're here to help in whatever way you need, whether that be astrology or the POG support, the energetic tools, or a hypnosis session, or come see the dragons and get that ignition going. There's a lot of different ways that you can do this. Go sit in the sun. Oh my gosh, I was meditating right before this, and the sun was just like warming my face, and I was like, oh, there we go. That's it. That's good. So get out in the sun at the very least. Open your window and take a few minutes of sun, or go stand in your yard for a second and put your hand on your heart and just feel that that energy. Yeah.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us today. We'll see y'all again in a couple weeks for the next Lunar Reflection.
Yep. I got dragons coming up. Dragons next week.
Dragon show on Monday.
Monday with Kay. It's going to be real fun, talking about activating your dragon energy. I've got Lynn on Wednesday. We're talking about her dragon session and deep diving into
I'll probably re-listen to that while I work on Monday or
Tuesday. Oh, I'm probably gonna re-listen and take some
that's good stuff for while you're clacking.
Oh yeah, so. It's good. Go check out the full sessions. There's been a lot recently. I had the session with Yana and Soul that was very fascinating and interesting. Such a fun experience that we had fresh new experience that we hadn't tried before. So it was good. All right. Go outside, get some sun. Love you all. Turn your screens off, and we're sending you all the love. Happy new moon. Bye, y'all.